And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
I'm one of them.
I know that.
Because, you know, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean,
over the Caribbean,
South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
That's why you called Israel. Is it real? No, it's not. How did we leave there black and come back white? How did we leave there black and come back white? How did we leave there black and come back white? How did we leave there black and come back white? Can somebody answer that for me? Can somebody answer that for me? Can somebody answer that for me? Can somebody answer that for me?
They say, go see the African History Museum. Why do they start when the boats came? Why don't they start with the drums?
When we was kings.
No, they don't want it, but we are kings. But the 400 years doesn't have to deal with slavery. It has to deal with the Bible. It has to deal with us being disobedient to God. Us as 12 tribes of Judah, as a member of the Hebrew people, we are still inside of our genocide. 50% of all black deaths a year is abortion.
Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact,
All right. Can you guys hear me? If you guys can hear me, type 1. If you can hear me, if you can't, let me go ahead and do some additional adjustments to my sound. So if you can hear me, type 1. If you still having issues with hearing my voice, type 2. All right, there we go. Not sure what happened, but got it up and going. Appreciate you guys. Again, want to say Shabbat Shalom, and couple of announcements want to put out there tonight. We April 16th is where we having our Passover celebration. If you guys are interested, any one of you guys that are in the area, or you would just like to come and visit the area, and you want to honor the Shabbat of the Passover, the Pesach with us, feel free to let me know. We're also going to do baptism that weekend as well. So if you have a desire to honor the feast days, let us know. We're also going to do some teachings to lead up to there as well on the feast days. We're going to do some teachings on when is the Pesach. We're going to do a teaching that I did years ago about the ancient Hebrew calendar of showing how the Passover, right, the Pesach, and actually the Hebrew New Year's did not start on the spring equinox. I'm going to really show you that because the spring equinox was something that the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Sumerians, and other cultures recognized the spring equinox as their new year, but not Israel. So we'll deal with that in the upcoming weeks. I'll do a series dealing with the Passover because that lesson is a very detailed, in-depth teaching about Passover. So we'll deal with that in the coming up. So let me go ahead and give some shout outs. And before we get started, I know some of you guys may be coming on and say, wait a minute, Pastor, you talked about this earlier. Yeah, I did. And unfortunately, my video got mysteriously removed. The Mike Tyson video that I uploaded mysteriously removed. And this happened a few times on this channel. It happened a number of times on Facebook with videos disappearing. Whenever I would go live, they would throttle my connection to where it make it look like I'm on a AOL connection, one of those old modems, the 28K modems, right? They were removing my video. They were throttling my bandwidth. So the moment I would go live on Facebook, and it happened for years, within 3 to 5 minutes, it was a guarantee that I got kicked out of it and the video removed. And here, that's happened a few times that videos that disappear, getting notifications, emails of people saying that they've been unsubscribed and not getting notifications. Then I noticed that my subscriber count starting to act wishy-washy again. It's been doing that for over a month now, well over a month, almost 2 months now. Since we hit 15,000, I was averaging basically over 1,000 subscribers a month. Then suddenly, now it's down to 20 to 30 subscribers, right? Which is very odd. I never averaged that many subscribers in terms of so few. So very, very, very suspect. And I know that I was locked down for 9 months of the 9 of the 12 months last year. And literally I was one strike away from this channel being completely shut down a few times. I had to literally, when they tried to give me my third strike, I had to contest it. And surprisingly, I had one back to back, preventing the third strike to shut the channel down. So they tried everything that they could to shut this down. That's why I kind of tapered off a little bit in terms of doing the amount of lives and everything, because I didn't want to take any chances, because I was literally one strike away from the channel being removed. Right. So again, appreciate you guys, the love and support. Appreciate you guys for the Patreon, the support over there. Matter of fact, I have to upload the exercises. My apologies. A lot going on, had some death in the family, so wasn't able to get to it. So I'll make sure tonight before I turn in. I'll upload some practice exercises, and we'll be uploading lesson 5 next week. And then what we'll do is in between lesson, before we get to lesson 6, I'm going to post a bonus lesson that's going to cover each letter for us, the meaning of each letter, go into the details of each letter. So we're having a great time. And family, if you want to learn ancient Hebrew, I'm teaching ancient Hebrew and the Israeli language. Go to the Patreon account. If you want to learn Hebrew and you don't want to feel like you're being nickel and dime and all that other stuff, I created that space for you guys, right? I didn't put any minimum on it. I think Patreon, they have like a $1 as a minimum. Whatever you want to bless the teachings with, that's at your own discretion. I'm not having all kinds of tiered groups of 5, 10, 15, 20, because then that starts sounding like giving me flashbacks of when I was in the church, especially in the Pentecostal church, like they're auctioning the Most High. They have their $5 lines, their $10 lines, their $20 lines, their $50 lines, the $100 lines, but they'll start with 100 and then they'll work their way down to, all right, whatever you have, just come. So that's not what it's about. I encourage you guys, if you want to learn Hebrew, go there, and it's not filled with any agendas. It's not filled with trying to pull you into any other teachings, but just teaching you exactly what's what and giving you an historical account of why the Hebrew is where it was and how it come to be where it is today in terms of when we're dealing with the Israeli language. But anyway, let me give some shout outs to you guys. I really appreciate you. So let's see here. Yeah, my sister passed away, so been dealing with that. So just found out yesterday. So, pray for my family and really appreciate you guys. So let's go ahead and get started here. All right, let's see here. All right, let's get started here. Let's give some shout outs before we get into it. We got a few things that we're going to cover, and we will be live tomorrow night. We're going to deal with the situation down in Tennessee, right? Mason, Tennessee. We're going to deal with that situation. We're going to deal with why it's hard for us to come together as a people. We're going to deal with other communities that was bombed and all that other. We're going to really deal with a lot, and going to have a special guest on here tomorrow. My brother, Dr. Carr, he'll be on here. Prayerfully, I'll have my other cousin, Pastor Jerry Carr, if his schedule permits, and possibly some of my other cousins. So this may be an entire family affair with the panel tomorrow night. And I'm looking forward to having my buddy Moxie on here pretty soon. Moxie, the comedian, great channel, doing some great things on his channel, on his platform. So a lot of things going on. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's give some shout outs. And then once we do that, I'm going to show you some clips, because there's a lot of stuff going on here, family. And yeah, the topic for tonight, object of scorn, glutton for punishment. And as you see at the bottom of your screen, Peace Corps warns Negro volunteers who's volunteering to go to Ukraine that guess what? You go there, you may be called some names. You may be called some, like Bill Cosby would say, filth, farm filth. What I would like to say to you, Eddie Murphy, filth, farm filth. But anyway, you may be called the N-word, or you may be called, should I say, nigga over there. And matter of fact, I got a special treat too. I'm going to upload with KRS-One explaining, giving you his research on that word. And you got some great information in that lecture as well. And I'm going to upload that here so that way you guys can review it as well. So yeah, that's going to be what we're going to deal with tonight for us. What the Peace Corps warns about our brothers and sisters volunteering to go over to the Ukraine. All right. For whatever reason. I don't know why, but we'll deal with it. All right. But let's get some shout outs. I want to say Mr. Original. I want to say Shabbat Shalom to you. Appreciate all the love and support. I want to say greetings to Jacqueline Pug. I really appreciate you. I want to say Shabbat Shalom to you, or Shabbat Shalom to you. Sister Nitz, I want to say Shabbat Shalom or Shabbat Shalom to you. Tana Rich, Appreciate you for the love and support and holding down the chat, and really appreciate you. Want to say shalom to you as well. Ariane Yah, Shabbat shalom to you. Want to say peace and blessings to Rodimus PM. All right, Shabbat shalom to you, and apologies if I did not pronounce your name correctly. Jenny Wren, want to say shalom to you as well, and appreciate the love and support, and thank you for allowing this platform to assist you as you to help you try to make sense of some of the stuff that we've been taught in the church, some things that just really didn't make sense. So thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey. All right. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Twame Gaddy, want to say shalom to you. Shalom Mash Paka. Want to say peace and blessings to you as well, family. CB, want to say peace and blessings to you as well. Sean Green, want to say shalom to you as well. Appreciate you. Shine Bright, shalom to you. D Lions, want to say peace and blessings to you. My cousin, of course, Ruhaman. Family, show some love and support for my cousin here. Appreciate you, sis. Appreciate all that you do. D Lions, I want to say peace and blessings to you. Open mic or open-minded skeptic. I was about to say open mic skeptic, but open-minded skeptic. Appreciate you. Leany, want to say peace and blessings to you. Who else do we have here? I think I already mentioned James. Sean Bright, want to say peace and blessings. Yaz Treasure, hallelujah. Want to say peace and blessings to you. Lena S, peace and blessings to you. Who else do we have here? Allah Yam is with us. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Shalom to you. Shine Bright, peace and blessings to you. Let's see here. All right. If you hear a little noise, that's my daughter coming in the house. All right. So let's see. La Norris Gurley, peace and blessings to you. Jacqueline Pug, peace and blessings to you again. Thank you again for the support. Soulfully sowing seeds. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Shalom to you as well. Who else do we have here? Spartan Shield, Stacy Pullum, Lenoris Gurley. I want to say shalom to you. Up next, peace and blessings. I want to say shalom to you. Robert Haynes, shalom to you. I want to say Yataza Ka, right? I want to say peace and blessings to you. Let's see here. I think I got everyone. If I missed your name, please do not charge it to my head. Charge it to my head, not to my heart. That's old school. My grandmother used to say that all the time. Israelite wife, Desiree, peace and blessings to you. Stay on Fire Ministry, Mariah. Who else do we have here? All right, family. I think I have everyone. And again, if I missed you in terms of mentioning your name, giving you shout outs, forgive me. I want to say peace and blessings to my sister, Shonda at Large. Family, support her channel. She's doing a great work, and I really appreciate my sister. So if you're not subscribed to her channel, subscribe to her channel. All right. So we're going to get into it, right? Our lesson for today, right? Or the topic for tonight. And I just want to do this again because the video was removed earlier, right? The video was removed earlier, right? And 2 videos was removed earlier. So when I did the live earlier, I went back to add the tags inside the description, right? And the video was gone. And I was like, wait a minute, what happened? And then the Mike Tyson video I uploaded was gone. You know, with Mike Tyson showing love, to a guy that pulled a gun out on the comedy club that he was at. And Mike Tyson literally called the guy over while the guy has his gun inside his pocket, of course, called him over and said, hey, you know what? Gave the guy a hug. And the guy ended up, saying to Mike Tyson, shalom. Well, that was an indicator right there. It's like, wait a minute, he understands his identity. But again, family, you have to understand too, a lot of people, a lot of our brothers and sisters, we don't have our head together. A lot of our brothers and sisters are dealing with some mental issues. And you can see clearly that this brother had something going on. But as a people, even though individually, some of us are cool, but as a whole, we are a sick group of people. When I say sick, we are, I'm not saying it from a perspective of trying to insult our community, but I'm saying it from a perspective that we need help. And the help that we need can only come from the Most High. The cure for the things that we're dealing with right now can only come from being obedient and getting back to the things of the Most High. We have to embrace his Holy Spirit. We have to embrace the Messiah, that the Messiah said he's going to leave what? A comforter, another comforter, which is the Holy Spirit. So we have to get back to those things that's going to help heal the land. When I say heal the land, I'm not just referring to our native country, but I'm talking about this land, this body. This is land, this Adamah, right? That was created from the ground, right? The Aratazah, which is the ground, the earth. So this Adamah right here, right? That the Most High said in First Chronicles 7:14, that if my people that are called by my name humble themselves, turn from their wicked ways, right? And guess what he said? He says, then I will hear from heaven and I will heal their land. So guess what? This is that land right here. Not just the territory, our homeland, but this land right here. All right. So appreciate you. I want to say peace and blessings again to everyone. And I'm going to drop the link inside the channel in the chat. So Sister Shonda, if you want to jump in, Souls of Our Ancestor, if Sister Carol there or Jay Highstyle is there, Dr. Carr, if you want to jump in, feel free to do so. You're more than welcome to come in. And again, tomorrow night, we're going to have a great discussion. And we're going to deal with the community out in Mason, Tennessee. And we're going to deal with some other communities as well, because that playbook, right, it's a playbook that's been going on for quite some time. So with that being said, family, let's go ahead and get into what we're going to deal with tonight. Right. Let me go ahead and enlarge this here. All right. So you see object of scorn. Right. And you notice the black face images in the back. Right. And you notice here the mark, Brandon, our people being branded. And family, you have to understand when we say mark, right, this is where we have to get beyond our understanding of the prophecies get away from that Eurocentric understanding of the prophecies, especially when we start dealing with the mark of the beast, right? The mark of the beast, in other words, the mark of this system, right? 666, right? That represents system, the system of man, right? Because man was created on the sixth day. And notice here in this image here, our ancestors being what? Branded, right? The Hebrew word, the Israeli pronunciation is nikud. The ancient is naquad. And it means to what? Stamp, right? So when you see Jacob with sheep and goat that's spot and speckled, right? Some had natural marks and others didn't. The ones that did not have natural marks to identify that those belong to Jacob, Jacob had to put what? A mark on it. And that's where you see the word nikud or naquad, which means branded. So object of a scorn. Notice the imagery here. Also notice the black face here. And we're going to touch on this as well, because as you see at the bottom of your screen, this is I'm going to share with you words directly from the Peace Corps, the warnings that the Peace Corps has given to anyone from our community that want to go over and help their community, right? So let's go ahead and get into it, all right? And I'm going to show some clips in between, but let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start it off this way. I want to start off with the proverb, right? Matter of fact, let me go ahead and put this in proper order. I can see this out of order already. Let me move this real quick. All right. So that way we get a better understanding. All right, here we go. This should be the proper order. Okay, here we go. Let me put the slide in the proper order, because that's not the proper order. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go. All right, where is it? All right, let's try this again. All right, let's start off with Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 37, right? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 37. Now, I'm not going to break this down. And guys, when I upload Road to Savannah Part 2, the breadcrumbs, I'm going to really break down every detail of this text here. So for the moment, I'm going to deal with this word proverb. So it says here, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, mashal, and a byword among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead thee. Astonishment, proverb, a byword. So let's hone in on, let's just really turn our attention to proverb, right? So the Hebrew definition of proverb, and I want you guys to pay attention to these images because I really want to provoke a certain response from you, right? Because I'm going to share some things that it's going to be to your surprise when I share with you what the when we start really dealing with the volunteering, the Peace Corps, what they have to say about the warnings that they give to our community. So let's go to the Hebrew definition of this word, right? Proverb, mashal. Notice what it says here. It says usually of metaphorical nature. In other words, when you hear poetry, you hear a lot of metaphors inside poetry. As a matter of fact, when you read the book of Proverbs, you'll see wisdom being referred to as a gender of she, right? That's not saying that wisdom actually has a gender. And that's what many will try to use that text and go into. I'm not getting into all that, but get into that, go there to say, hey, look, the Holy Spirit is a female. Look, wisdom. No, this is where you have to understand when you're getting into personification, right? Idiom and personification. Idiom, right? This is where you start dealing with metaphors. Personification is where you start dealing with taking a gender and assigning it to an object, such as a car, right? Many guys refer to their cars as Betsy, but we know a car does not have a gender. So that's just an example of that. So personification, idiom, metaphor. So in poetry, you'll have you'll see some metaphors when you read the book of Proverbs. You'll see some metaphors to bring forth a certain point. Okay. So also we see poem, but then also we see byword, like, parable, proverb. All right. So let me give you more information. Let's go to the etymology of this word here, because proverb, right? Mashal, in this text, it actually means scorn. It means scorn is what we're referring to, but let me prove it to you. If we go to the etymology dictionary, a proverb, right? And this is what you're going to see, right? And let me take this out. This is the portion of the definition that we're going to really focus on, because this is very important for you to understand what it means, because it's not just saying you're going to be a metaphor, you know what I'm saying? That prophecy, or should I say that the consequences, because again, when you read Deuteronomy 28, most people view Deuteronomy 28 as the blessings and the curses. That's not correct. You'll hear that in the church, blessings and the curses. They'll really focus on the blessings, blessed in the city. That's where it comes from. Blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed wherever, you guys know that song, right? So the first 15 verses in that chapter 28 is the blessings. And once you get beyond that, now you're getting into not the curses, the consequences of what? Breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. The actual laws of the curses is in chapter 27. All right. So chapter 27, you deal with the curses. Then 28 begins with the blessings. And then we deal with the consequences. So we're dealing with the consequences of one of the labels here, proverb, which means what? Byword, reproach. But here's the key: object of scorn, right? I want y'all to understand, object of scorn. And we can truly say that we as a community, we have been an object of scorn. Right? When we deal with blackface and all those different things, we are dealing with, and we have been a people, an object of scorn. Look at the things that we had to deal with as a community, even today, as souls of our ancestors mentioned last night in our live, about the things that's going on in Tennessee. Object of scorn. We are an object of scorn. We're the only group of people that are treated the way that we're treated. The only group of people. And really, other communities, they don't have to deal with the consequences. But the Most High is going to hold them accountable, right? Judgment Day is coming. All right. So let's deal with some of this contradictory behaviors, right? You see here, Hampton University offers free tuition, right? Offer free tuition. Hampton University offers free tuition for the Ukrainians, for the Ukrainian young people, as well as international students studying in Ukraine, right? That are displaced by the conflict that's going there. But notice what they say here, right? Harvey has announced that it will invite 50 to 100 Ukrainian and international college students presently studying in Ukraine to continue their education in HU's campus, right? So they're going to offer them room, they're going to offer them board, they're going to offer them tuition, right? They're going to offer them assistance, right? Things that I can give examples of. Many of our brothers and sisters that have attended Hampton University did not get these perks, had to leave because they could not afford the monies, could not afford the tuition, right? So they were not given an olive branch. They were not given an olive branch. And so apparently they are forgetting this right here. Let me show you a few clips, and you guys remember this, but I want to play these clips again, just as a reminder of what happened to our brothers and sisters in the Ukraine. I want you to hear from them.
Well, I'm actually very, very tense right now, and we're just very skeptical here because we don't know what's going to happen. And the situation here is just really, really horrible, and we're all just finding a way out. That's all we're trying to do. As you can see, I'm actually at the train station in a city called Lviv in Ukraine, and we're trying to board a train right now with a lot of African students here, as you can see. I'm with my friend Wilfred. Wilfred, say hi. Hi. He's also Nigerian, and Neo. Yeah. And he's also Nigerian too, with a couple of ladies too. Look at them, beautiful ladies. So we can't lose all these people. Like, you guys really have to come and help us because we don't know. We're trying to get across the border. You have to send all the support you can, any way you can. If it's maybe monetary, if it's maybe a flight or anything, because we're all trying to go to Hungary right now. And from Hungary, we're trying to move out of here. That's all we're trying to do.
Michael, we've seen on social media there are allegations that Ukrainian citizens are being prioritized on these trains to get out of the city, out of the country. Is that indeed the case, where African nationals are being pulled off in a place to give the Ukrainian citizens a spot?
Exactly. Actually, we are actually experiencing a lot of racism, especially at the Polish border, which is why most of us are actually choosing to go to Hungary right now, because like at the Polish border, they're actually giving priorities only to women and children of Ukrainian origin. Like those of African origin, they are not even helping us at all. Like those of African origin, they are not even helping us at all. Like those of African origin, they are not even helping us at all. Exactly. Actually, we are actually experiencing a lot of racism, especially at the Polish border, which is why most of us are actually choosing to go to Hungary right now, because like at the Polish border, they're actually giving priorities only to women and children of Ukrainian origin. Like those of African origin, they are not even helping us at all, literally, and it's absolutely horrible. My friend was here earlier. Well, he's been waiting here for like 5 hours. There was a train heading to Poland, and they refused him entry.
Take any blacks. They only took the women
and children of Ukrainian origin, and that's it. And right now, we're just trying to get on the next train that's probably going to Uzhhorod, so we can go to either Slovakia or Hungary. That's the only option right now. But what we're experiencing here is just absolutely horrible, and you guys have to put the word out there because we need to leave this place as soon as possible.
Michael, do you know if any students or any Africans have been at all injured during this conflict?
I have no idea if any Africans have been injured. I don't know anything about that. Like all
Africans have gone missing.
There were some Africans. You say some Africans have gone missing.
Yeah, there are some Africans that have gone missing. The thing is, because no one is getting help from anywhere, there are so many people stranded. We're just trying to do the best we can to get out of this nasty situation.
Now, I hope y'all understand and really caught what he said. He said and made it clear that some have gone missing. That's not being reported, right? When you start understanding, even in this country, even in Jerusalem, Israel today, like many Palestinians are disappearing, and a lot of them are being when their bodies are recovered, some of them that are lucky to be recovered, at least the bodies, the remains, they're missing organs, right? That's happening inside this country as well. That in Detroit, people they found basically a place where they were taking organs out of our brothers and sisters that was coming up missing, right? You guys saw on the news about a year or two ago where someone just walked into a hospital with over almost 1,000 organs, and no one asked where it came from, donated to the hospital. See, you have our brothers and sisters that are disappearing, right? You have this happening, like the situation, I believe, either in North Carolina or South Carolina that occurred 2 or 3 years ago with the athlete in high school. They found him wrapped up in a mat. And when they took him to the morgue to have a autopsy done on him, discovered that he was missing all his vital organs, as far as his heart, his kidneys, and all that. They discovered key organs were missing. So some of our brothers and sisters over in Ukraine have disappeared. And you can look this up, right? In the Jewish community, guess what? When you start dealing with organ transplants, they don't take it from within their community. They get their organs primarily from our community. You can look it up, right? But anyway, when you see here, Hampton University is offering the Ukrainians tuition assistance. But you just heard how our own people over in Ukraine have to fend for themselves. Says some of them came up missing. Many of them had no food to eat because they had to rush so fast. All they could do is grab their passport, their paperwork to prove that that's them, and try to make their way to get out of that country, which they were kicked off of trains, shot at, to make sure that they don't come near those trains or get off the trains. All right. So here's another article, right? New York Times, right? From the New York Times, United States will welcome up to 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Let me show you a little bit of it. Let me give you a little bullet out of here. Brussels, right? Bowing to domestic and international pressure, right? Bowing to domestic and international pressure. President Biden said on Thursday that the United States would accept up to 100,000 refugees fleeing Ukraine and donate $1 billion, right? I wish I had the Austin Power clip here when he said $1 million. I wish I had that clip. That'd be perfect right here, right? But donate $1 billion to help European countries facing humanitarian crisis not seen on the continent since the end of the World War. I want y'all to hold that note. Let me pull something out real quick. Let me add something here real quick, because this is not the first time Ukraine had to reach out to the United States. But let me pull something up here real quick. Let's see here. Let's see if I could pull it up real quick. I want to add something here. I meant to do it. I didn't. I just thought about it just now. The thought came back to me. I forgot to do it earlier, but I'm going to do something here real quick. I want you guys to pay attention to something here. Let me see here. Bear with me 1 second. I want to add something here. Let's see. Where is it? I want to add a news article here dealing with the Ukraine. All right, let's see. Is it this? Bear with me 1 second. I think this is it. All right. If need be, I'll just copy all of them here. That way we can actually pinpoint which one I want to highlight. Yeah, this is it. This is it. Let me pull this over right now. And I want you guys to take a look at this here, because this is not the first time we see the call for help, call for assistance. Let me show you here. All right, let me put it here and put it inside this presentation. And you guys probably remember this from when I did the lesson on Zionism. And I got to finish that lesson up. I got to do a part 2 to really give more in-depth understanding of Zionism. All right, so let's close this out. All right, here we go. I want y'all to pay attention to here. New York Times, right? Wait a minute, is that the right one? Let me make sure. Let me make sure. Bear with me 1 second. All right, that's the New York Times one. Yeah, okay. No, that's not what I want. Bear with me 1 second. Let me put it where I want it to be at. Bear with me 1 second. Let me put it where it needs to be. And then we'll get back to that other one that we just highlighted here. All right, there we go. Okay, let's try this again. All right. This is an article coming from September 8th, 1919. Notice what it says. Ukrainian Jews aim to stop pogroms, New York Times, right? This is coming from the New York Times. I'm subscribed to their archives, so I could go in any time to pull out any information I want out of this. And I did this years ago. I brought this to the attention on another channel that my cousin, Pastor Carr, and I shared, put together like almost 6 years ago. And I shared a video with this information, right? A lot of questionable articles that was mentioning 6 million before the Holocaust per se, that was in the 1940s, right? So here we see New York Times. This is the search results, right? If you went there looking for this article, notice what it says. Ukrainian Jews, right here, aim to stop pogroms, right? Commissioned to visit Europe and prepare a memorandum for President Wilson, right? But let me highlight that here. As you see here, it says that 127,000 Jews have been killed. And notice that key number there, 6 million, right? 6 million. It says here 6 million are what? In peril. Okay. So now this is the actual article that you could download from the New York Times archives. And this confirms that. Okay. So this is not the first time we see conflict in the Ukraine, and Ukraine is really asking for resources, right? We see here the Ukrainian Jews put out a similar beacon call to help to the United States to send resources to help 127,000 Jews, as they said here, that was dealing with situations there, and said 6 million Jews worldwide basically are in peril. Okay, so I just want to give you a little history there, but let me share another article with you, right? Because remember, initially the United States gave over $350 million initially to the Ukrainians, and then they gave another $1 billion to the Ukrainians for military and all this aid and some other things. But this also, I want you to pay attention to this here. This is coming from the New York Times, right? Congress clears $1.5 trillion spending bill, including Ukraine aid. And when you read the document, if you go there and read that bill, you'll see Israel getting billions of dollars. You'll see Jews here getting quite a few, resources. You see so much spending that's helping these different communities, but you see one commonality here. Every time some of these bills come down, we are excluded, right? They always make room to take care of other communities, right? They're giving billions every year to these different communities, right? They're giving 50, almost in the upwards of 50 billion to Israel every year to help support their military, to help support them, and giving the survivors, right? They're survivors of their Holocaust per se, giving them resources, right? So look what happens every time it comes to our community. Look what happens. You know, we're always neglected. They always come up with every reason why they can't uh, pay up what they owe our community. They don't owe our community handouts. No, they owe us for what? The labor that they forced on us. They owe us for what they did to our community. They owe us for rapturing our community. In other words, raping our community, kidnapping our community, making us, every last one of us that are sons and daughters of slaves, we are sons and daughters of prisoners of war. Fact. Okay. So let me read this here. Congress cleared the first major federal spending legislation of President Biden's administration on Thursday, approving a 1.5 trillion measure with substantial increase for domestic and national security programs. 13.6 billion in emergency aid for Ukraine as it battles Russia's invasion. So they've gotten billions of dollars even before them allotting $13.6 billion of spending additional resources for them. Right? This is stuff we don't hear about. This is stuff we don't talk about. We're so busy trying to bicker and fight with one another, but we're not talking about this here. And some would say, "Oh, well, you know what? We're not supposed to ask for reparations or demand reparations. You know, the Most High is going to take care of that." Well, if you study Exodus chapter 12, you'll see Moses instructed the people to go and demand reparations from the Egyptians. Now, I've heard all kinds of so-called teachers and pastors from Christianity trying to justify and poorly teach that text to try to come against our community, saying we're not owed reparations. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And I'll when we do the lesson on the Passover, I will break down that text to show you that these guys that call themselves with their choke chains that they call clergy collars, guess what? These guys got a leash on them. And that leash, guess what? Is to keep them in alignment with their agenda. Where they start veering off that path, guess what? That their papa could pull on that chain to get them right back on course. Okay? But I'm not going to stop there because the U.S. is generous to so many people but us. Right? Wall Street Journal, right? Afghan refugees in the U.S., how they're vetted, where they're going, how to help. Right? You guys remember the situation in Afghan? I didn't add it. Let me fix this here. Let me update this right here so you guys can see exactly what this says. Bear with me 1 second. All right, let me fix this real quick. And then we're going to get into, we're going to show a couple of clips, and then we're going to get into let me see here. Yeah, we'll get into the Peace Corps in a second. Let me fix this here. Let me change this because that's not correct. If not, you guys, if I can't correct it, then you guys pretty much you already get the gist of what I want to show you here about how the United States assisted the Afghanistanians, right? Remember, they were able to, in a moment's notice, fly out 120,000 people and brought at least 70,000 over to this country. At least 170, at least 70,000 to this country. Right? Oh, this thing is acting up, man. me try this again. If not, we won't worry about this portion right here because my slide for some reason is acting up. Let me bear with me 1 second. This thing is acting up, and I see what it's doing on. I tell you, it's always something here. Let me take this down real quick because it's StreamYard is acting glitchy right now. Let me fix this right here. Let me take this off. All right, let me fix this here because StreamYard is acting glitchy. I see what it displayed on it. Let me see. All right, there we go. Let me bring the presentation back up. All right, here we go. Let's try this again. All right. Where are most of the Afghans living now? As you see here, it says of the roughly 76,000 Afghans brought to the U.S., more than 62,000 have already moved off U.S. military bases into communities around the country, right? Where the refugee settlement officials are helping them find homes, apply for jobs, and here enroll their children into school, because I think you'll see it right here. Apply for jobs and enroll their children in school. Notice right here, right? They were flown to U.S. military bases around the world. And I can confirm this. I witnessed this, right? They were flown to U.S. military bases around the world where their names and fingerprints were run through security systems before being sent on to the U.S. They were temporarily settled on 8 military installations in the U.S. where they waited until refugee settlement agencies were ready to move them into permanent homes. So guess what? The U.S. did everything they could to assist that community as well. Put them into the military bases. They weren't just going into military dorms. They were going into the military lodging, right? The best lodging. They were giving a per diem. They were giving all kinds of things that to help them transitioning from Afghanistan to this country, right? But do you guys remember this right here? Let me share a couple of clips here. Let's see if you guys remember this right here. I'm going to show a few clips. If it makes you mad, it should. If it makes you upset, it should. But let me show you a couple of clips here. You guys remember this?
A mass of humanity hoping some in return. In the shadow of a devastating earthquake and the assassination of their president, thousands of would-be asylum seekers flee Haiti to take their chances up north.
If I'm deported now, I'll die in Haiti. There's no security, there are thieves. There's a civil war every day because there's no leadership.
Many have ended up in this makeshift camp under a bridge connecting the Texan city of Del Rio to Mexico's Ciudad Acuña. The US government has supplied water, toilets and other resources, but the scene remains desperate. While waiting to be processed, men, women and children use sheets, blankets, even plants to shelter from temperatures nearing 40 degrees.
But for many of those Haitian migrants under that bridge, Haiti hasn't been home for a decade, and we're seeing an increasingly heartbreaking situation unfold there in Del Rio. The next image might be tough to look at, but it's important to look at. The El Paso Times reported that a mounted Border Patrol agent was seen wielding a whip during an encounter with Haitian migrants.
We are communicating, as we have now for months, loudly and clearly, that irregular migration, the perilous journey, is not the journey to take. One risks one's life, the life of one's loved ones, for a mission that will not succeed. We have been, we are, and we will continue to exercise the public health authority of the Centers for Disease Control in light of the fact that this country and this world is confronting a pandemic.
A mass of humanity hoping for some in return. In the shadow of a devastating earthquake and the assassination of their president, thousands of would-be asylum seekers flee Haiti to take their chances up north.
If I'm deported now, I'll die in Haiti. There's no security, there are thieves. There's a civil war every day because there's no leadership.
Many have ended up in this makeshift camp under a bridge connecting the Texan city of Del Rio to Mexico's Ciudad Acuña. The US government has supplied water, toilets and other resources, but the scene remains desperate. While waiting to be processed, men, women and children use sheets, blankets, even plants to shelter from temperatures nearing 40 degrees. As some try to bring in supplies, they're chased away by border officers on horseback. It signals the start of what could be America's swiftest mass expulsion in decades by blocking part of the border and forcing thousands from the camp into detention centres.
That should make you upset, family. See, remember, right? You see the excuses that the representative gave, the politician gave. Remember what did they do to those 10,000 Haitians at the border? They found the resources and put them on planes and sent them right back to Haiti. They didn't do that with the Mexicans. Actually, President Biden, right? He decided to come up with a plan to try to compensate many of the Mexican immigrants that was displaced due to the bill, or was it a what you call it? Trying to think of the term now. I can't think of the term. The order that Trump signed. Was it due to what he signed? Right. But whatever the case may be, Trump put something into play. Right. He signed an order, an executive order to hold, whether it's children, whatever, at that border. Right. So a lot of crazy things happened. Children went missing. But what Biden pointed out, right, and family, I'm not accidentally calling him Biden because I'm meshing Obama and Biden's name together. So anyway, so Biden, right, came up with a solution, right? And the solution was compensation. Now he tried to deny, saying it wasn't that amount, but the amount was the recommendation in the news reporting that he was going to give almost $500,000, $460,000 or $450,000 per individual. Right? A Mexican immigrant to compensate them. But notice this proactiveness to help and assist everyone but our community, compensate everyone for their troubles, but not give what's due and what's owed to our community. Instead, we still seeing things like Mason, Tennessee happen. Our ancestors being spooked and threatened. They leave their land, and then the Caucasians come back and take their land and make up fake deeds, questionable deeds to take over their property. Family, that's what's happening. That's how many of these guys have the properties that they have. If you understand the coast like North Carolina, South Carolina, those coasts, right? Those are what they call the Gullah territories. Why? Because during the 18th century, 17th, 18th century, the Europeans that came here, the colonists, they did not know how to live on that coast. That was considered during that time for them as a wasteland. Our ancestors turned that property and made the best out of it. And guess what? Now you see that they're taking property from so many of our people there and now building up resorts. Come on, family, do your history. If you study Spanish Florida, truth be told, our ancestors own a bulk of Spanish Florida. U.S. or the colonies purchased Florida from the Spains and took our territory. We got our freedom, but basically kicked us out of Florida. That's how we ended up in Mexico and some of those other places. And ultimately, one of the places was Oklahoma. Anyway, so look at how they treated the Afghanistans. They made sure they bent over backwards for every other community. The Ukrainians, as we just pointed out, the Ukrainians, look at what they provided for them. Look at what they provided for them. Whereas though you have Flint, Michigan, they can't even get clean water out there. Flint, Michigan can't even get clean water. They can't even get good bottled water. And I know some of you guys probably saying, like, good bottled water? What is bad bottled water? Yeah, not not all water that's inside bottles is healthy. Especially when you start dealing with the chemicals, when sun hits that and the chemicals it produces inside that water. And a lot of that water was regular tap water anyway. But Flint, Michigan can't even get clean water. Let's get to, and I'm going to drop the link inside the comment section for you guys, if you guys want to jump in here. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I meant, what I stated about the Peace Corps, right? In spite of all the stuff we've been subjected to, our people always have a way of volunteering to become the object of scorn. So as you see, I'm going to show you for all the volunteers who want to basically make yourself available to become an object of scorn. Let me show you what the Peace Corps says. This is coming from their website. Let me drop the link inside the comment section so that way you guys can go to it, or, you know, at your leisure. Let me bring it up real quick. I'm going to drop it inside the comment section. All right. And you can go to it. And if you go to it, you'll see this section, possible considerations for African Americans. Excuse me. I had to clear my throat. Possible considerations for African Americans or Black volunteers. Now let's see what it says. You know me, I got to highlight it, got to zoom in. Let's see what it says. Volunteer voices, people of color face many challenges living in Ukraine as a Peace Corps volunteer. However, African Americans will confront far more complicated issues. For modern parts of Ukraine, African Americans are part of the community in day-to-day life. However, there are many Ukrainians who have never seen a Black person before. Their understanding of African American culture is fueled by the media and African stereotypes. See, when you understand the institution of race, every time you say that you are Black, guess what you're doing? You're promoting the stereotypes that the creators of this institution put together, right? The institution of race, right, is not based off of any scientific equations, but they classified us as being Black based upon stereotypes and social conditions within our community, right? The features, the nose, the lips, right? Because guess what? Not all people of color is listed as Black, right? You'll see the Indians from India, right? They when they come to this country, they register as being Caucasian. They classified as white. You have Egyptians coming from Egypt coming here. Guess what they go down as? Being classified as white, whether they want to or not. But for our community, when you see that word Black, that word Black is there purposely to make sure that there is a line, right? When we get into red districting and all that other stuff, but make sure that there's a line drawn between the Europeans, who are considered to be the conquerors, right? And our people, as well as the Aboriginals here in this country, as being the conquered. That's what the institution of race is based on. And every government that's based off of that institution, we are going to always be at the bottom of the totem pole. Fact, look it up. So every time you say, hey, I'm a Black man, Oh, I'm a white woman. I mean, yeah, even white woman, you still co-signing on that institution. Or I'm a black woman, black man. Our people will fight for that term, black man and black woman, but they won't fight for their origins, their place of origin. They won't fight to say, hey, you know what? I'm beyond being a black man. It's more to me just saying that I'm an African. Man, where am I from this continent? Yes, Israel is part of the continent of Africa. Right? We'll fight for that. That's why I played this clip, and we'll get to the other portion of this article here, or this website here. But this is why I play this every time. And I'll upload. I think I uploaded already, but I'll play the entire message here. But let me play this again so you can see the confusion it caused when I had to confront that term black during the Black Lives Matter march 5 years ago. Here we go.
And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what?
China.
All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
Family, that was one of the saddest things that you can witness. If you really want to witness, show that right there. And I'm not saying to give myself props or anything. It was nothing but the Most High, because that was just a last minute thing I did on the spot. Because when you're dealing with crowds like that, because I got asked to give a speech, it was over 5,000 people that was out there, and I walked with them. I got footage of that, right? But you want to have an icebreaker, something that's going to draw their attention, because when you're in that type of gathering, people can be pulled different ways, because of you have all kinds of distractions that can be out there. So that icebreaker, that's what it's called, an icebreaker, a call and response. So I use a icebreaker in the form of a call and response to make them think about who they are, and not just with our people, but for the white people that was there, or the Caucasians that was there as well, right? For them to understand this. So when that took place, man, some of those people, Caucasians that was there, came up to me afterwards, tearing, crying, saying they had no clue with that analogy. I mean, that icebreaker, the impact of it. You heard the confusion and you can hear it, but it's man, if you actually see it, if I zoom it in and you see some of the confusion on the people's faces, especially our people, they didn't know how to respond. That's why you hear the crowd responding the way they did. They were confident to identify everyone else, but they couldn't identify themselves, because we've been given a construct. We've been given an identity according to the institution of race. They've given us a identity. They've given us a social identity, and basically turned the entire world per se upside down to put us from being at the top to put us at the bottom. To go from being the originators to now, guess what? We at the bottom now. They're making an assertive effort to erase what is called the primitive root. In Hebrew, you'll hear the term primitive root for all the words, a primitive root word. In other words, you'll see all these other words, but there's a primitive root it comes from. In other words, there's an origin to this word. Guess what? We are the primitive roots. We are the origins. So let's see what this article says, and I'm going to drop the link here. Souls of our ancestor, Dr. Carr, some of you guys that want to jump in, you can jump in. I'm just want to highlight one more thing here. But notice what it says here, right? It says here, you will generate lots of interest and curious stares. So these stares can make you uncomfortable and annoyed. Ukrainians' initial perception of you may be that you are from Africa. It may not, right? Notice the divisiveness right here, a separation. We're still the same people. But notice it says, initial perception of you may be that you are from Africa. It may not. It does help if they understand that you are an American. And the training in PSD will help you consider ways that you will engage with these assumptions. But notice this here. It is not uncommon for Ukrainians to refer to African Americans as N-word. In other words, niggers. Volunteers of color may be called monkeys or may see children games with blackface. Let me read that again. I hope you guys really caught hold of this. I hope you guys understand what you are reading here. Right? I hope you understand what you're reading here. I hope you understand what you're reading here. So let's try this again. Let's read this again for everyone that's listening and watching. See, family, we have to pay attention and know our history. We can't go off of impulse, because many will say, hey, I know it's the Holy Spirit that led me and to go over to Ukraine and go help those people. Man, we got to stop blaming everything on the Holy Spirit. No, there was a spirit, but it wasn't the Holy Spirit. Right? Going to lead you to a place that view you like this? You want to say the Holy Spirit going to lead you to this place? Bypass your own brothers and sisters like that war vet in Chicago, volunteering to go over to Ukraine to help them fight because of his Ukrainian girlfriend want to go there and help them fight instead of fighting for the community that he live in, Chicago, with all the stuff that's going on there. They need brothers and sisters to help stay in the community, to help address the situations within the community, but he wanted to take his talents outside the community. Doesn't that sound familiar? How many doctors and lawyers and engineers that we supported, raised up in our community, only for them to take their talents to the other communities? Don't come back. They don't return to their communities to allow the people to eat the fruits of their labor. They allow others to benefit from their fruits, but not of their labor, but of our labor. Those fruits belong to us. So it is not uncommon for Ukrainians, right? Notice what it says, Ukrainians, to refer to African Americans as the what? You see it right here, as the N-word. What? Volunteers of color may be called a monkey. What? Or may see children games with blackface. What? Family, you could go back on the channel here. You could go back on the channel here. See, on We Woke now, we don't pull any punches. Even in the video that's at the premiere at the top of the screen, the video that's kind of like the intro, the main page video, The Road to Savannah, I deal with this. I go into showing those children books like Agatha Christie had her original book was called 10 what? 10 little niggers, nigger boys, right? You'll be surprised. You could go into what's that game? The people that Parker Brothers that made the game Monopoly. They had one that had blackface and it had what? The 10 little niggers. I could show you that. I could show you cards of how our people were subjected to all kinds of, as we see, proverbs, mashal, being the object of scorn. right? Let me show you just a little bit. For those that haven't seen the video, I encourage you guys to go see it. Let me pull it up here. This is a little clip from the Road to Savannah Part 2 that I'm working on. Hopefully, preferably, I have it done over the next couple of weeks. I've got a lot of information I'm going to share, but let me just share just a little bit of it, just for those that may not have seen the clip. All right, let's see here. Here's blackface, Valentine's Day cards that was made, right? Our oppressors used.
Water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. You better wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Stepped in the water, water was cold. God's gonna trouble the water. You chilled my body, not my soul. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble 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 the water.
I'm going to mute it so you won't hear the sound, but let me bring it back up here. Look at some of these cards, family. These are actual cards that are put together to make it look like a pop-up book. But I wanted you to see, I think I have the Parker Brothers one, the Monopoly version of it. Let me see here. Let me play it so that way you guys could see here, right? You see this card right here? This card is pushing and promoting the stereotype of our people being barbarians, being cannibals. That's why you see the black girl, right? Big lips, right? Have a baby inside a pot cooking them. That's why you see the flames here, right? Over here, be my Valentine. But notice, same thing, baby being put inside a pot, being cooked, pushing the narrative that we are barbarians. In other words, that word proverb, right? As I said again, mashal, right? It means, again, object of scorn, right? Let me show you another piece. I want to show another part here. Let's see here. These are blackface, right? I'm going to play one more clip from another community, and I'm going to drop the link here so that way you guys can actually jump in. Dr. Carr, if you're available, feel free to do so. But look at these are actual cards here, right? These are actual cards. This is not something I created on my own. This is what they were giving to their loved ones as humor for themselves. Here it is, right? You see that right here? This is from a game from, as you see, a Parker Brothers, right? 10 little niggers. This is Agatha Christie. 10 little niggers. Here's another book. The 10 little niggers. Right? What community had to go through this right here? This is the Parker Brothers. This is their version of Monopoly for our right? A version of Monopoly titled The 10 Little Niggers. This is what they this is what they used for this whole period. They had restaurants and everything with blackface. This is what they did. This is how they taught their children to count. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. How many of you guys had to sing that when you were a kid? How many of you sang that song to your own children, not even realizing that, guess what? You are actually teaching them this song right here. Because 10 little Indians actually come from this right here. This is the original right here. This is the original. All right. So it is not common or uncommon for Ukrainians to refer to African Americans as nigger. Volunteers of color may be called a monkey or may see children games with blackface. All right. So I'm going to drop the link here. All right. Let's be respectful. If anyone that outside of the names I mentioned jump on, let's be respectful. Let's make sure we're not using any profanity or anything like that, because we do have a cloud of witnesses watching us. Here we go. All right. So I want to put the link inside the chat. Dr. Carr, if you're available and you want to jump in, feel free. Pastor Carr, if you're available, feel free. I'm not so sure Sister Carol is in here. Feel free to jump in. So's are my ancestors. Feel free to jump in. So the link is there if you guys want to jump in and join the discussion before I wrap up. But I really want you to make sure you understand the stuff that we have been subjected to. And the reason why many of us keep walking and showing up and volunteering ourselves to the very people, as we see in Deuteronomy 28:68, one of the consequences, offering ourselves to basically our services, right? Offering our services, trying to enter into agreements that we shouldn't enter in. Say, guess what? No man will buy us. No, that's not going to help us. That's not going to put us in any good favor, good standings. That's not going to do anything for us. Trying to circumvent judgment. We keep financing the delusion. Why are we keep over and over financing the delusion? Right? Let me show you this blackface, right? Of the very community, right? That talk about them being the things that they were being subjected to, that always bring up anti-Semitic, right? Always want to bring up anti-Semitic. But look at what some news anchors over in Israel, look at what they how they mocked our people in blackface. Where is it? Here it is.
נחשף ביערות בורקינה פאסו שבט קניבלים נטו נטו. שלום למנהיג השבט קזבובו.
שלום עליכם. אברהם יצחק יעקב, יודע עברית, שולחן, חשבונית, קובי פרץ, מוטלס, יבוטאו.
מר קזבובו, כולנו כאן בישראל מופתעים ונרגשים נוכח האפשרות שתעלו ארצה.
קזבובו שמח, 2000 שנות גלות נגמר, רואים אור בקצה של מנהרה.
אתם בטוחים שאתם יהודים?
התחלנו על חנן. אם הוא שחור הוא לא יהודי?
לא בגלל שהוא שחור, הוא...
מה הוא מה?
קניבל.
ומי אתה שתגיד לו מה לאכול, אם הוא קניבל הוא לא יהודי?
אולי תבוא, תעשה אצלנו שבת?
זה לא שיש לי משהו אישי נגדכם, אבל הפלשמורה למשל תקועים.
Yeah, you see the blackface referring to us as cannibals and all kinds of stuff. All kinds of mockery towards our community. But we don't hear anything about this. We don't hear anything about these things, but we're told to get over it, right? Whenever we talk about reparations, it gets treated as if we're asking for handouts. No, we're demanding what's owed us. But when you have these guys asking for help, It's referred to as foreign aid, right? When you deal with businesses in this country, right, that needs help, right, it's called a bailout, right? In other communities, a bailout. But when it comes to our community, it's always viewed as a handout. And we get told that, hey, why we keep bringing up the past? That's in the past. But yet we see the church celebrating St. Patrick's Day. That's not even, anyway, I'm not even going to get into it. All right, family. So that's all I have for today. This is what I taught earlier. And unfortunately, my live was taken down along with the Mike Tyson video. So let's give a couple of awards out as we give it a wrap up. I wanted to give a little time if anyone wanted to jump in, but it looks like no one is jumping into the live here. So I'm going to go ahead and give out some awards. All right. Let's give the bucket. All right. Let's give this bucket to the country we live in that continue to do these things to our people. Let's give the bucket to this country on how they've been kicking the bucket, kicking the can when it comes to compensating our people for what we were forced into. This life that we live in right now was forced on us. Being in this country was forced on us. The things that we have been subjected to, right? Let's give the garbage can. Let's give the garbage can to the racism that our ancestors have been subjected to, our brothers and sisters over in the Ukraine. Let's give the bucket to Hampton University. Let's get a bucket to these so-called Black Caucus. Let's get this. We just got to just throw a ton out of there. Right? And let's give a three-piece. And let's give them their order to go. Well, family, appreciate you. And I, again, have a blessed Shabbat. And I'm going to post the information about our Pesach that's coming up in 3 weeks. And I want to encourage you guys, if you want to come out and fellowship with us and celebrate the Pesach with us, the Passover, feel free to do so. All right. Just let me know. But with that being said, family, the words that Moses had given to Israel as they were dealing with the situation with the water in front of them and the Egyptians, which represents their past, trying to catch up with them. He had to say to them, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see today will not have power over you ever again. These strongholds won't have power over you ever again. They may still exist, but it won't have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you, but you must hold your peace. In that text, the Hebrew word is karash, which means be quiet. Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shabbat Shalom.